Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The grand finals of the Americas playoffs concluded yesterday, and that meant the groups were going to be drawn for the World Championship in Seoul in just a couple of weeks' time. These are some stellar groups depending on your perspective. Group B, an absolute group of death. There's another big potential group of death as well, but what about the Sentinels, Gen.G, Heretics, plus FPX group situation? Has it been rigged for the ratings, for the views? What does Zellsis and these other guys think about the situation? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. This I thought was kind of crazy actually from Shazam. He correctly predicted everything in the Americas playoffs until the finals, right? So, he had Crew beating Cloud9, 100T beating Sentinels, then he had G2 making the run, Lev making the run but then losing, he had Crew actually making it all the way in the end as well, which is very impressive performances, but then obviously the final match against, G2 versus Lev, he managed to pick it to go the other way. Now, I don't exactly, blame Shazam for getting it wrong or something, right? Because it was very difficult to call who was going to win the grand finals, especially given the map advantage that you get coming from the winners bracket side. We'll discuss that though in a second. This was kind of cool as well to see the block party that was going down. Loads of people in attendance here. Maybe some of you guys were as well. So yeah, hopefully if you were there, you would have enjoyed that one. Danny, by the way, okay, Rossi, but he goes as Danny on his profile. He's now back in the US, right? He was with T1 for the season. Technically, I guess he's still with T1 because, as he says, T1 has allowed me to look to play for other teams heading into next season. Truly blessed for the opportunity they gave me, and they'll be terminating my contract soon. So basically saying, like, my contract is about to end, therefore, if you want to sign me, now is the optimal time to at least have a conversation because he will be allowed to go for free with no bouts and stuff like that. And I feel like the way that he played out there in APAC, now he's making the return, he should be a player in some serious consideration of getting a spot back in potentially tier 1, and if not then certainly tier 2, but obviously tier 1 is the goal, and I think it's not impossible with the way that things are currently looking, right? And given the fact that he also went and played abroad, not impossible that he might consider doing something like that again, depending on the circumstances, on what is available. But of course T1 wanted to go, the Korean speaking way, they wanted to go their own way, despite Rossi definitely playing well this year. But let's talk about the grand finals then of the Americas, because Com gets the job done again. As he says, this is pretty cool to be fair. People can talk about my stats all they want. The one thing that I do is win, because Lev came into this grand finals after just having lost to G2 earlier on, pretty comfortably, really impressive from G2. But, I did think that Lev had a bit more in the tank than they showed earlier on in the stage, and literally a couple of days ago. But they go into the grand finals with a pretty severe map disadvantage, right? Because when you turn up to these grand finals, like G2 banned what they want. They got rid of Icebox, they got rid of Sunset, and therefore the 5 maps they wanted to play were the 5 maps that were played, and usually that's a pretty nice advantage. But on this occasion, Lev just, at least in the maps that they won, pretty much had their number right, although the game 1 Lotus did tell the story to some degree, right? On G2's pick here, the 15-13 overtime comes through. The Haven was then a 14-16 overtime in favour of Lev, and to be fair, a lot of these maps, Lev outslayed hard, but only won very marginally, right? So it was a banger grand finals. The bind was a big bounce back from G2. They keep it alive with a big second half, but then the Ascent in the end was 13-4. A dominant attacking side actually here on the Ascent from, Aspas and basically the entire team, and that was going to be job done. So again, a couple of ridiculous overtime games we've seen lately to get Leviathan over the line, but that's exactly what they go on to do. And G2 do not get the result they wanted in the Americas. Not the end of the world for them, but they still would have liked to do so. They, of course, will therefore advance in addition to every other team to the VALORANT World Championship, and we'll have a look in just a couple of seconds exactly what that is going to be looking like from a group perspective. These, by the way, are the nationalities attending. Really interesting to see. Obviously lots of Chinese players there because there's big Chinese representation, and most of the players on the Chinese teams are Chinese, which is not necessarily the case in the other regions. And Brazil, not the representation they would typically maybe be expecting, of course, from Turkey and from Korea, and many players from many different countries down the list of players. However, what does it look like in terms of the actual group seeding for the World Championship? Because here is Zellsis, at least with the initial reaction to what that group eventually looked like, right? Because, yeah, that Sentinels group is deadly, and I feel like we've seen stories like this before, and probably it's not going to be the last time either, right? Because as Zellsis says, Madrid rematch. They go through and they run the group draw, so, it's not rigged precisely, but, they bring out a certain team, team, and like for a crew, for example, it's like, well, okay, they're trying to go into this group, but we can't do that because of regional matchups, therefore we've got to put them into this group, therefore it leaves this group, and all this stuff. The chances of this group forming, though, were like 4%. I think people ran the calculations on what the chances were of getting this group, and it was very low, but it happens. And no doubt a group in which, you know, I feel pretty horrible for FPX, but also, to be fair, for the other teams as well, because only 2 teams advance. That's the way the format works. There's 16 teams go in, 4 groups of 4. They play a GSL style group, which is basically win 2 before you lose 2, and if you get through, congrats. If you don't, then unlucky, you are out of the tournament. So it's going to go from these 4 down to just 2. Wanted to show a couple of the reactions here to these groups, a bit of trash talk as well between some of the teams and players, because some guys have it kind of easy, some guys have it kind of hard.
I think we gotta adjust the scenes one more time. Thank you so much.
Let's go ahead and talk about this bracket and how it plays out. First things, I'm gonna start with you, Zellsis. That looks fun.
Bro, this is rigged. This is rigged. Listen, you know, it's just Madrid all over again, no problem.
Yeah, yeah, right? I mean, hey, but seriously though, looking at Gen.G, I mean, that is going to be, you guys are 2 excellent squads. At the very least, you're going up against a top tier team like that. How does it feel at the very least?
I actually did have us playing Gen.G for some reason. Don't ask me how I know that. But yeah, I had us going against Gen.G. Honestly, the only team I didn't want to face was Fnatic, so I'm pretty happy.
Okay, and they're all the way over there, so you're good to go. King, as we see, you guys are going to be taking on talent from the Pacific region here, but you fresh off of the win, feeling good, feeling energetic. What do you got to say to your opponent talent as they watch this right now?
I mean, we're feeling pretty good as a team right now, and
Wants them to talk
I
shit.
want to, like I said it joking, I want talent, give me talent. I mean, I feel that they're just
wants
like
it? He wants it.
I feel they're a mid-team, so I'll take it.
Damn. You're allowed to say that?
I got forced. I
No,
have a weapon.
if he wasn't gonna say it, I was gonna force
I
him
have
to say
a
it.
weapon. I have a weapon in my head right
It's
now.
called peer pressure.
I have peer pressure in me.
Exactly. All right, well, G2, Jonah, brother, you're going up against W Gaming in PaperX. That is just, and you're familiar
hard
with those
first
guys.
match,
I mean,
too.
Very familiar.
what do you think of this matchup, man?
I mean, they're a great team, but they're bigger chokers than we are, so.
Oh my God, the self-roast. That goes crazy.
Hard.
Yo, mic drop.
I like that. I like that. Well, then, as we take a trip over to
Jeez Louise.
you got D.
So out of 24 opportunities, we did get this group of 3 international finalists in the same group because, you know, Gen.G, of course, their victory, they'll play Sentinels in the very first game. I mean, that's absolutely mega, right? You know, the Sentinels, the winners of Masters Madrid, Gen.G, the winners of Masters Shanghai. Of course, Heretics made the finals as well earlier on. FPX, man, their groups have been so rough. Like, the teams they played as well at Shanghai, like, they literally lost to the 2 teams in the finals. That was their thing. And now they've been drawn in here again. It's, yeah, very unlucky for them because their chance of getting out of the groups are very difficult. But at the same time, you know, if you want to win the event, which is, of course, the end goal, you've got to end up beating the best teams. So, but still, I mean, Heretics have been so good this year. I know they've fallen off a little bit as of late, as of Sentinels. Gen.G still look very strong, of course. So, you know, Gen.G will be the favourites, I guess, to take the group at the moment. But nonetheless, it's still quite the storyline, right? Also talk from Fnatic because they play Billy Billy. That's their first round game. And, you know, as Durka says, first game against BLG. FNS is like, oh, come on, don't remind me or whatever of that type of situation. But, you know, let's look at the other groups as well in some detail just to dive through them, right? Because, you know, this is Group A, it goes down. Fnatic, DRX, Crew, and BLG. That's your Group A. Again, all of these groups, because it is the World Championship, there were some nice teams in here. Billy, I think, are going to have a hard time in this one. And my prediction would be that DRX and Fnatic make it through. I think Crew Esports, you know, just historically, they're one of these teams, right? They make it to champions, but when they get there, they might not do all that much. Group C is, you know, maybe the easiest one. I think Lev will be happy with this. They've got themselves Vitality, who are good, of course. They made the finals in EMEA, and then they've got Trace Esports and Talon. So definitely, I'm sure they'll be feeling all right. We should be comfortable there. Group D, though, is, you know, I wouldn't say precisely a group of death, but it isn't too far away. Like, Paper Rex are here, G2 are here. Already that's like, you know, only 2 of those teams, plus FUT Esports, plus Edward. Now, I don't think Edward Gaming internationally have been good enough. Like, I don't see them being a massive threat in this group, but like FPX might potentially be if they were swapped around or something, but, you know, who knows? Maybe they're going to deliver a better performance now than they've done before, but FUT Esports are kind of nice as well. So that group is not clear cut, but I do think that B is the scariest group to look at, and I'm sure that the players and the teams probably will continue to feel the same way. This was interesting, of course, you know, Jonah P giving his thoughts on Paper X, just, you know, obviously tongue-in-cheek, just making a funny comment, really. Now, you know, they're bigger chokers than we are type thing, and it seemed like he was getting lots of, you know, replies and reaction and flack for this, and he's like, look, come on, like, no need for, you know, the threats or whatever, on my family or myself or whatever, with some funny words, just friendly banter, but, you know, I do think that as a result of this, even if it is just, you know, friendly stuff, I'm sure that maybe some of these Paper X fans won't forget about that come to the actual tournament, when they're going to find themselves in the same group not all that long from now. So very much interested to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.